One and all, on behalf of Legacies, I, Dr. Mayura, welcome you to this webinar, which is arranged on the occasion of World International Day. The theme of this year's World International Day was Need for Accelerating Change for Sustainable Future. So, based upon this theme, we have chosen the topic of webinar that the need for accelerating change for a sustainable future, water and climate change. Considering this theme, we have actually got an expert into this field, Dr. Mitra sir. So now I request our ESG head, Mr. Parki, to welcome Dr. Mitra and introduce him. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you, Mayura. Incidentally, today is very important day as far as 2 points are considered. One thing is that it is a World Water Day, and also in Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, in some of the Indian states, it's a new year, new Samvatsar. So I wish all participants a happy new year and a happy World Water Day. I think most of you know, are aware that the World Water Day started in 1993, and water, as per Hindu mythology, Jal yahi Jeevan hai. So water is life. So that is why there's a great importance as far as water is concerned. And if you see this importance of World Water Day in present context, because of the climate change, there is a huge impact as far as our day-to-day life where water is required. So there is a scarcity of water. Also, there is a weather changed. We are observing it, lot of flood, then the droughts and the extreme weather conditions, hailstorms like that. And the people who are staying in coastal area, they are having threat of submersions and other climate change related issues. So that is why the World Water Day, it's a like in a remembrance or just a reminding ourselves or telling to us where we are and where we should do, where we should do corrections. So that is why this World Water Day is important to all of us. And I'm really thankful to Dr. Mishra, Dr. Abhijit Mitra. So he, on a very short period of time, he accepted our invitation, and he is present here with us to enlighten us on this very important subject, which is impacting our life. So I would like to briefly introduce Dr. Abhijit Mitra. So he is an associated professor, former head of Marine Science Department, Calcutta University. Presently, he is a Director Research Honorary at Techno India University, Calcutta. He is a doctorate in Marine Science, NET scholar, gold medalist in MSc, and he has also worked in Calcutta Port Trust, World Wildlife Fund, and many other organizations. You will surprised to know that he has more than you can say 675 publications, national and international level, on the various climate change and water related subjects. I'm really amazed that he has wrote 65 books. Out of that, 55 books are being referred to the various students as far as the curriculum is concerned. He is member of a number of organizations and the international bodies like PSUN, ICUN, SIOS. He has done more than 21 projects in marine and fisheries areas. He is a regular speaker to the foreign universities at Singapore, Kenya, Oman, and USA. He has extensively worked on blue economy, Sundarban, then the mangroves ecology, and many other areas. So I'm sure his experience and his knowledge will be enlightening to us. I'm very fortunate because I had an opportunity to work with him for a couple of projects in my earlier years of working. And really, Dr. Saab, thank you very much, and look forward to hear from you in this subject. Thank you. Over to Dr. Mitra. So Dr. Saab, you can now share your screen and you can present your slides, and then the questions people can, yeah, all the presenters can write on the chat box as well. And subsequently, Mayura can also have the question answer sessions. So, okay, thank you, sir.
So is it now visible?
Yes, sir, it is
Yes.
visible.
Okay, in slide mode.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon to all of you. Today is the International Water Day, and on that day, I'm really grateful to the organizer for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you. And with a number of participants coming across from different disciplines. So today's my topic, what I have selected is climate change leading to alteration of water resources. So I think it's now visible to everybody.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me start with the very preliminary things that you all know that three-fourths of the Earth's surface is water. So, which includes the fresh water of lakes, ponds, estuaries, and even the marine and environment and brackish water. And out of that, 96.5% of the water is within the marine ecosystem. So the ocean holds about 70% of the water, which is basically saline in nature, starting from hyposaline to hypersaline environment. And this is, if you see the last just last written in black, 1,338 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 liters of water are there within the marine and estuarine ecosystem. So this is a huge volume. And basically, there are 5 major oceans in the world, in this blue planet: the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian Ocean, then the Arctic, and the Southern Ocean. So these are the 5 major oceanic compartments in this blue planet. And Pacific Ocean has the highest depth and the highest volume of the water, about 707.5 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 liters of water, followed by the Atlantic Ocean, which contains 323 into 10 to the power 18 liters of water, followed by the Indian Ocean, 284 into 10 to the power 18 liters of the water. And if you just add up, it will come to 1,200 into 10 to the power 18 liters of water or something like that. And the remaining water is distributed among the Arctic Ocean, among the Southern Ocean. But scientists could not give a perfect water volume of these 2 regions, because most of the year, these are frozen to ice. And therefore, it is difficult to see that, say very clearly and very accurately, that how much water is contained in these 2 oceans. I mean, in the Arctic Ocean and in the Southern Ocean. So if you just drain out all the waters from the ocean, it looks just like the stitches, as if accident has happened within the ocean bed. This is the structure of the ocean bed. You can see these are the structures. These are basically the mid-oceanic ridge where from the volcanoes come out. You will be astonished to know that under the ocean, under the marine environment, there are also volcanoes. These are called suboceanic volcanoes. And these are the regions from where the volcanoes come out under the ocean. These are certain examples. This is a volcano taken from the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. And you know, the Mariana Trench is about 11,000 meters. If you consider the highest Himalayan range, Mount Everest, it is 8,048 meters. So if you just think that you are just inverting Mount Everest and putting it under the ocean, still some 3,000 meters of depth is still, the Mount Everest cannot touch the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean. So these are known as the hydrothermal vent within the ocean. It's a peculiar world, but still life exists over there. The biodiversity is found over here. And 3 important organisms which are found here are the crabs. Again, I repeat, crabs, then some polychaete worms, and some microbes. So these are the 3 important organisms, and scientists are trying to get more and more information about this region, because this is a real mysterious region where nothing much information is available to the scientists. Now, the ocean is made up of salt. You know, if you test the ocean anywhere in India, in the Indian Ocean, Arabian Ocean, or in Bay of Bengal, it is salty in taste, but sometimes the salinity differs. And this is a major industry which is coming out from the ocean. You have heard of the Tata salt. Actually, the water is taken out and stored in this shallow reservoir. Then it is evaporated, and you can see that over here that heaps of salts are there. So then it is iodized, and it is a very big income and a very big industry, this salt industry from the ocean. But what is now, the basic chemistry of the ocean is changing. Ocean is containing about more than 98% of the sodium chloride, and other salts are there, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride. But the basic chemistry of the ocean is changing. This is one of the picture in 2017 when I went to the Gujarat coast, where Council of Scientific Industrial Research, a government of India organization, and Central Salt Marine Research Institute, they are taking salt and doing the experiment. So as an advisor, I went over there. You see how they are taken in the trucks of salt, and then they're analyzing the different constituents of the salt, mixing the salts with iodine. So it's a big industry throughout the India. And also, you know that what is the consumption of the salt in starting from curry to everywhere. It is extremely essential for our foodstuffs. And now you can see that our field is actually basically to know the marine and the estuarine environment. You can see one of the scholars, I'll tell about him. He is presently the Inspector General of Police. Previously, he was the Police Commissioner of Barakpur in West Bengal. He has done his PhD under my supervision. Now, the water, we are testing the water chemistry to see. See, this is my picture in 2017, again in the Kadmat Island at Lakshadweep, where you can see that I am taking the corals. These corals have become whitish. This is known as practically the coral bleaching. And this is because of the changing of the water quality, in terms of the pH, in terms of the salinity, in terms of the temperature. These are the basic things. The water quality has some optimum temperature and optimum salinity, a pH, but this is changing, at least in the marine environment, because of the climate change. So this is, you see that how in the Sundarban region, I have gone there with my scholars. From the ship, we come to the country board, because there are certain regions where the ship cannot go because the enough depth is not there. And we are testing that how the sediment is changing with the help of the meter, the pH meter. Also, we are testing the salinity of the water during the different tidal situations, during the high tide, during the low tide. So, but the tragic thing is that we are celebrating the International Water Day in such a phase when the chemistry of the seawater is changing because of the effect of the climate change. And the pulse of the climate change is felt in every sector of the society, in every sector, in every tiers of the life. What actually is the climate change? It is just an alteration. A change means the change can be in the positive direction, as you can see from here, or it can be in the negative direction. When it is in the positive direction, I mean, from the mean value, if it starts increasing, we tell it a global warming. You see, recently, in 2 years back, in the Panama forest in Brazil, huge acres of forest, huge hectares of forest burned because of the global warming. There are some controversial issues. I'm not going in details, but because of the warming effect, because of the friction between the trees, the plants rub against each other, and they cause a massive fire throughout the open forest. And this is one of the cause how our forest is getting burned because of the natural factors. So again, if you see just today's news, yesterday's news in California, it is too cold. It is too cold because this is again a global cooling. Some incidents again 10 years back, California witnessed a cold which was not witnessed 100 years back. This is known as the global cooling. So again, I repeat that global warming and global cooling. This is global warming, that means a positive, that is global warming. And if it is in a negative direction, that is called the global cooling. And in that case, you get snowfall, you get always a hailstorms. So these are the effects of the global cooling. Now, what causes the climate change? If in a very easy language, I want to tell you that firstly, there are certain natural causes. The first cause is that, just like the storms in the earth, there are certain storms that occur in the sun also. These storms are known as the magnetic storms. They don't have any specific names like our Ayla or Amphan or Yash or Citran, like that. But there are magnetic storms, and when it hit the wall, the corona of the sun, some spots are created. And whenever these spots are created, these spots are known as the sunspots. They do not allow the solar radiation to come to the earth. In that case, we do not get global warming, but instead we witness a cooling effect that is called the global cooling. So more the number of the sunspots, more is the global cooling. So the cooling effect is directly proportional to the number of the sunspots. So this is one of the important natural causes. I have already told that the entire causes of the climate change can be divided into two parts: the natural causes and the man-made causes, I mean the anthropogenic causes. So this is the first natural cause on which we do not have any control. The second natural cause is the plate tectonics. As you all know, that the earth is made up of asthenospheric plates which are in constant motion, colliding with each other, also diverging with each other. So this is beyond our control. When it collides with each other, there is a frictional effect and there is a localized global warming. And when it goes back, when there is a divergence of the plates, then the carbon dioxide reacts with the limestone, exposed limestones, and the carbon dioxide concentration on the atmosphere becomes low, and there is a chance of the global cooling. So depending on how the plates are moving, the climate of the earth is also changing, and this plate tectonics is beyond our control. So this is just an example. You see, I have told you the plate tectonics. Yes, once upon a time the earth was only one, and there were two supercontinents, and gradually it started breaking. This evidence is known as the continental drift theory. So this continental started drifting each other. Previously, there was only two supercontinents: Laurasia in the northern hemisphere, at Gondwana land in the southern hemisphere. Gradually, it started breaking, and then India came into existence 80 million years ago, 80. So this is, again, I am coming to the third natural cause. This is called the albedo. Whenever there is a snow or glaciers, then there is 100% reflection. Albedo is the reflection of the Earth's surface. But if you go to the sea beach area, there is more absorption, and maybe there is a very less reflection, that is 40% reflection is there. So in that case, the albedo effect is very low. So these are the causes which can have a local effect on the climate, of course, at the local scale. Then coming to the fourth natural causes, you have heard of the volcano. We, the people, have the common vision that whenever there is a volcano, there is an emission of the heat energy. There is emission of the huge amount of gaseous forms, a huge amount of the chemicals from under the earth, and that causes a heating effect. Exactly, it is a wrong concept. Whenever there is a volcano, then a layer is created, which is known as the haze. It is just like a mirror, and it covers the Earth's surface. It is just like an aura, and it is made up of those chemicals coming out from the volcanoes and the water vapor. After reaction, they form this layer, and the reflecting surface of this layer is towards the sun. It's just like a mirror. So the sun ray comes and get reflected back again to the space, and this is the first stage of the haze. When the volcano comes, then gradually it starts reacting, the gaseous elements of the volcano starts reacting with the water vapor and forms a haze. This is the stage 2 and stage 3. A cover is created with the shining surface towards the sun, and therefore the sun ray, instead of coming to the earth, it gets re-reflected back to the space, and global cooling occurs. It happened in Mount Pinatubo in 2012 June in 1991, the temperature of that region dropped by 5 degrees centigrade in and around Mount Pinatubo on 12 June 1991 in Indonesia. So this is, but there are certain impacts. So what are the 4 causes I have told you? One is the magnetic storms on the sun, then the plate tectonics, then the volcano, and the 4th one is the albedo. So these are the natural causes on which we do not have any control. Now coming to the human-induced causes. If you can see this, we have changed our land. All over the world. This is not a case of the India, but I am just showing you a case study of Sundarban. You can see the arrow. The arrow you can see, it is pointing towards a triangular island. This is the biggest island in Indian Sundarbans with an area of 336 square kilometer. And the name of the island is Sagar Island. I think you have heard of the Makar Sankranti, where about 10 to 15 lakhs people every year during the mid-January come every year for taking the holy bath. And there is a temple over there that is called the Kapil Muni temple. And people from all over the world, even many foreigners also come to visualize this great aggregation that how the holy bath occurs over there. Now see how it has become green. Coming to this satellite image in 2014, just to see this triangular island, only a small patch is there on the southeastern side over here. So all this vegetation have been destroyed, which could otherwise be an important sink of carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide gas is the main villain, which is causing a blanket effect and is causing the global warming. So this is the creation of the man. You see, we have become so much civilized. We have become so much technically advanced. We are sending our spacecraft to Mars to see if there is life on the Earth. But you see what we have done to our own planet. This is a really pathetic situation. The entire vegetation of this mangrove vegetation has been changed. Why it has changed? Because for a short-term gain. You know, the West Bengal people, the Andhra, and not only West Bengal, Andhra, Orissa, but many of the places, we are very much fond of the fisheries. Now, the prawn fishery, I mean, the shrimp fishery is a very, very profitable business, which can grow up within a period of 3 months. A small seedling of 2 rupees can give you 1 kg for 600 rupees. If you just cut these mangroves, get the seawater and put the small juveniles of the shrimp, within 3 months, you are getting a profit of 100 times more. So you can easily imagine that man is trying to go for a short-term profit nowadays without caring the environment. And the salinity of our drinking water should be 0, but there is a machine you can see on the upper side. The salinity has reached 30 PSU. You can see within 20 to 40, there is a mark, and my arrow has touched this mark. This is 30 PSU. So what is PSU? PSU means the gram per liter. 30 PSU means 30 gram of salt in 1 liter of the water. In case of the fresh water, in case of the drinking water, it is 0 gram salt in 1 liter of water, or 1 gram salt after adding the mineral salt, 1 liter of water. But you see here, it has become 30 gram salt, that is called 30 PSU or 30 parts per thousand in 1 liter of water, where no agriculture is possible. The paddy, the vegetables is not possible. This is how we have spoiled ourselves. Only we have changed we only shifted from one occupation to other. So this is the thing, and we have also destroyed the environment. The third reason is of course, is the other industries. Industries pollute a lot. They're emitting carbon dioxide at every step. The transport sector, yes, this is one of the important factors without which we cannot run our life. But you see, it is a statistics of the city of the Kolkata within a period of 2019 to 2022. About 50,000 registered small vehicles have been registered. Now you can imagine that what amount of diesel and petrol is being burned, and how it is polluting the environment. This is Kolkata, only 200 or to 220 kilometers away from the Sundarban. So carbon dioxide is also reaching to Sundarban area, because there is no passport or no visa is required to go for carbon dioxide from one region to other. It only goes with the wind, with the flow of the wind, along the direction of the wind, and therefore how it is changing the environment of the Sundarban, you can see over here. So this is a new a supercomputer model which shows that how the carbon dioxide moves around the globe. If you can see that, the developed countries of the nations, I mean North America, Europe, how they are liberating a huge amount of the carbon dioxide. This reddish color is the indication of the more amount of carbon dioxide. The more it is red, that means the huge carbon dioxide is emitting from these developed nations of the world. So you can see it very clearly. Another important curse of the modern civilization are the plastics. If there is a hell on the earth, it is this. These plastics cannot be burned. It cannot be. It is very difficult to recycle. Although many of the industries are claiming that they are doing plastic roads and other recycled products. But really, plastic, if you want to burn plastic, it causes another damage, starting from the emission of carcinogenic gases like furans to polychloride biphenyls. All are very, very dangerous. And the plastic remains in the ecosystem for 400 years. You cannot imagine. And these plastics, many of the plastics are causing hazards and adverse impact on the marine life, starting from the turtles to the fisheries, and even the microplastics are causing great damage to the environment. Now, this is a picture of our way to Sundarbans. You can see there is a canal known as the dry weather flow canal and the storm weather flow canal. These are the two canals which goes from the city of the mega city of the Kolkata to our Sundarban. You can see this picture taken long back during 2015, but this is a very, very pathetic situation you can see. Now, I have told that incineration of the plastic, if you want to burn plastic and think that it is destroyed, no, then it releases more carcinogenic gases like dioxins, furans, mercury, and PCB, which which causes more adverse impact on the human life and the society. Now, in the power sector, this is also one of the important aspect of the climate change. We need electricity. This is obvious. Even I'm talking with you, my computer is running, in the room, the AC is running. All are being generated by burning the coal, because we are still in the coal. Nuclear power, tidal power, all these are the green energy, but they are still in a theoretical stage and not come to a practical level, to a larger scale. Of course, wind energy and solar energy has come to some extent, but not to that commercial level. So burning 1 kg of the bituminous coal produces almost more than the double, that is 2.42 kg of carbon dioxide. And therefore, power sector is also a very, very important, important source of the carbon dioxide, which is causing global warming. Recently, we are doing work on the power sector, and some of the participants, Dr. Gopai is also sitting over here, Dr. Sana Ahmed, I think Dr. Prasanjit Pramanik, all are sitting over here, big team who are working on the how to mitigate the carbon by the vegetation in the power sectors of the greatest power sector in West Bengal, CESC, Calcutta Electric Supply Corporation. And we are trying to find an escape route in a very cost-effective way. So this is the concentration of the carbon dioxide. It has not been updated, but if you just give a search in your Google that what is the concentration of the carbon dioxide, it has crossed 419 ppm. I am sure as of now, 2023. So there are certain effects of the climate change. The sea level rise is the major effect, because if there is a change in the climate, there is a change in the temperature because of the rise of the carbon dioxide. And in that case, the temperature, as you all know, that the temperature increases, the heat energy causes the expansion, thermal expansion of the liquid, which on which Dr. Gopai has done a great research, how the Bay of Bengal is expanding with the passage of the time at the rate of 3.14 millimeter per year. So this is how the sea level is rising. The temperature rise, the acidification of the ocean water, because the carbon dioxide is increasing and it is reacting with the water to form carbonic acid. So that is called the acidification of the ocean water. It does not mean that the water is going below 7 and becoming acidic, not like that. The ocean water has a stable pH of 8.32. So if it reacts with the carbon dioxide, it can shift to 7.9 or 8. It is not acidic in the sense of chemistry, because if water becomes less than 7, then it becomes acid. It is 7.9, but still that is a danger, a warning bell for all the flora and fauna on the oceanic compartment, in the marine compartment. Then alteration of salinity is there, coral bleaching is there. There is an adverse impact on agriculture, fisheries, and even on the human health. So if you compare, this is one of the major effects. If you compare the Arctic sea ice cover in 1979 and 2000, you can see the change. There is a change in the ice volume. And as per the law of conservation of mass, if this ice melts, then it converts into water, and then the water starts expanding. This is another reason. The changing of the state from the solid state to the liquid state, apart from the thermal expansion of the water. So this is also causing a major effect of the sea level rise, which is the world standard is 2.50 millimeter per year. But in case of Sundarban, it is much more higher, 3.15 millimeter per year. So it's really a very dangerous and a grim situation for the people of the Sundarbans. And we have the prediction from the IPCC, International Panel for Climate Change, that the Sundarban is one of the most vulnerable zones in the world. Of course, it is the World Heritage Site. It is having 34 varieties of mangroves. It is the only place in this planet which is supporting mangroves as well as the Royal Bengal tiger. If you go to Sundarbans, you will see the tigers within the mangroves. So it's a place of unique biodiversity, but it is a highly vulnerable zone in terms of the climate change. Whenever there is a rise of the seawater, the seawater gushes towards the land, and this is the major cause of the erosion of the sea beach that is occurring in most parts of the Indian subcontinent and also around the globe. As I've told you that it is a major threat globally, and the global sea level rise is 2.50 millimeter per year. And it has an effect on the wildlife, because as I've told you, the Arctic region, where the polar bears live, they require pack of ice to live, but they can become extinct if that ice is not there. The sea turtles, which breed on the same islands, they come every year from the Pacific Ocean to the Gahirmata, to Vitarkanika, to Mahanadi in the Odisha. So these, when they will find that their nesting home is under the ocean, then where they will lay their eggs. So this is how the beautiful creatures from these planets are going extinct and extinct. So scientists have predicted that these are the 6 major cities, including Kolkata, which will be underwater before 2030. This is 2023. 7 years down the lane, there is a prediction that these 6 major cities will be under the water. Number 1, Amsterdam in Netherlands, Basra in Iraq, New Orleans in US, Venice in Italy, then Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, and our city where I'm sitting down, Kolkata. So these are the 6 major cities as per the IPCC report that is threatened because of the sea level rise. Maybe we have to think that whether our garage will be in a good position, because at the ground level, the garages are there. So scientists are predicting that 1 to 2 feet of water will be there, because the seawater, we are very close to Bay of Bengal. If the Bay of Bengal starts rising, and they will push the Ganga water and the Ganges water on the bank of which the Kolkata city is located, this mega city of Kolkata with 14 million population is located, this Ganges water will overflood the city, and that will be a great danger. But I've started with the title, the deterioration of the water quality. You see, whenever there is a more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, I have told you that what are the causes of the rise of the carbon dioxide, the natural causes. and the artificial causes. This carbon dioxide reacts with the water from carbonic acid. And if there is a carbonic acid, the acid means there's a lowering of the pH. You can see that in the western and the central sectors, how the pH is going down. From 8.32, it has come to almost 8.2 or 8, something like that. And if the pH goes down, these are the shells. These are the oyster shells. They are very, very, they are having a very good taste. Those who are the non-veg in the 3-star and the 5-star hotel, even in the South Asian countries like Thailand, like Japan and China, even in France, in European countries, these oyster flakes have great demands. So the shell of the oyster, you can see they are made up of calcium carbonate. Because of the acidification of the water, there is a chance of corrosion. They will gradually become thin. And if these animals, this molluscan shell vanish, then what happens, the fishes which depend on the mollusk for their food, this entire food chain will be disturbed. The fishes which depend on these mollusks for their edibility value, for their nutritional requirements, will die off because their food will no more exist. So these are the things. Maybe one of the species, one of the keystone species may vary, but at the same time, it will have a long-term effect, a chain reaction on the other members of the food chain and the food web. You see, one of the scholars, there is a place in West Bengal known as the Digha. Digha is a beautiful sea beach, but you see there are, and on the jetties, on the fish landing jetties, there are a lot of oysters. He is measuring. He is now, of course, a big shot in the IFB company, which is exporting shrimp through in all the European countries and also in the USA. So he's a big shot over there as a quality control manager. He's experimenting that how much the oysters are there, or what is the effect of pH. Just a correlation, a statistical correlation, which is one of the important methodology for doing PhD. So this is for a layman's point of view. If the carbon dioxide increases in the atmosphere, then it dissolves in the water, reacts with the water, and forms the carbonic acid. And therefore, this carbonic acid does not allow the calcium, the carbonate, which are the major constituents of the shell of the mollusk, does not allow them to unite, because they will cause a division, they will cause a separation, like India and Bangladesh. Some evil powers will try to separate. Once upon a time, this India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Anyway, I'm going to the geopolitical issues. I'm not going, sorry for this diversion. I'm coming to the normal thing. So see, this hydrogen ion is the major culprit. The more is the hydrogen ion, which is coming from the carbonic acid. It will not allow the calcium and carbonate to unite. So the bivalves, the gastropods, the molluscan community, the shells, their shell will not be able to unite, and they will become thinner and will suffer the corrosion. Under the ocean, the scenario are changing. These are the paradise under the ocean. These are really the paradise. I have shown you the hell, the plastics, and these are the real paradise. All the colorful corals are there. But because of the acidification, because of the temperature rise, these corals are losing their color. They are becoming white, and that is called the bleaching. That is called the albino. Albino, it is a disease where the skin cannot synthesize the pigments, and the skin pigments loses its color. It becomes practically white in color. So under the ocean, this is taking place whenever there is a rise of the temperature. This is a beautiful picture of a live coral. See how they are thriving under the ocean. But with the passage of the time, when the temperature is rising, the small algae present in this coral, which is giving color to the coral, they are dying because they cannot stand the high temperature above 32 degrees centigrade. So once they die, the color goes off, and that is called the coral bleaching, the albino. So this is the fate. Why I'm telling is because this is also bringing millions of dollars in the name of ecotourism or tourism. If the foreigners are coming to Lakshadweep, to Andaman Nicobar Island, only to see for diving and to see the beauty of the corals. But days are coming when it will be total void, and there will be a major loss of this tourism sector also. Now, is there any way out to get rid of this? Yes, there are ways out. I have told about the green approaches, the green energy. For example, the geothermal energy, the solar energy, the wind energy, the ocean thermal energy conversion, where the turbine moves with the temperature gradient of the ocean. I'm not going in details in all the technical things, but they are very, very costly. And for a country like India, forget about Pakistan and Sri Lanka. For a country like India, it will have an adverse effect. If we go for this type of thing, suddenly, all of a sudden, it can cause a crack in our GDP. So better to think of a very cost-effective way. And I think that, kinetic energy of the wind can be converted to electrical energy using the wind turbines, and approximately 25 kilometers per hour is required. In 2019, I went to Tuticorin. I was amazed that in many of the islands in that area, they are using the wind energy to get the electric current. This is also green energy. So, but at the same time, I must tell that this is a very lucrative offer. You know, some vegetations are there which can almost all the trees, all the species having chlorophyll absorb the carbon. But there are differences. All are having, for example, the same brain. All are having the same IQ. People are having all having the same fat, same color, but there are differences because of the presence and absence of the melanin, because of the difference in the some are very fair, some are black, or because of the presence or absence of the immunity power, some are getting affected by the COVID, just like that. So all the chlorophyll containing plants absorb the carbon dioxide, make glucose, and give out oxygen. But there are differences. But still, since they absorb the carbon, they are really the carbon bank of the planet. And how do they absorb? In every plants, they have the stomata on their leaves. These are the small apertures from where the carbon dioxide is absorbed. Then that carbon dioxide reacts with the water, with the nutrients, they form the glucose, and that glucose is stored in the form of starch, and that is the locking of the carbon. So the trees are the greatest sink of the carbon dioxide. Trees can minimize the emission, and that is where our scientists, our ecological team are looking to minimize the effect of the carbon dioxide rise by planting specific type of trees. And I had the opportunity to work with Upendra Parkis when he was in the starter still, to work on the biodiversity, to work on the efficiency, the potentiality of different species to lock carbon inside their system. So at the same time, just like the ATM counter, I tell that since the carbon dioxide these trees are also producing oxygen during the process of the photosynthesis. So it is an all-time oxygen counter also. You are getting oxygen free of cost. We did not value the oxygen. We do not even value the oxygen, but the value of the oxygen was felt during the time of the COVID, when there was a tremendous scarcity of oxygen and people had to run from shop to shop to just get a cylinder of the oxygen. But whenever we don't price it, it doesn't have any value. So anyway, so this is all about the trees, how they work. Even these trees are found in certain regions of the marine ecosystem where the water is not available. They are in the highest tide zone, where during after 15 days, water comes in the form of the wave sprinkling. They are also this type of xerophytic. Xerophytic means desert type of adaptation. This type of dry plants are available. The name of these plants are Ipomia pescapri. This is also a very interesting, there is also a very interesting story behind. I'm not going in details, but I will touch a few points. From the industrial point of view, you know, this Ipomia pescapri extract is a beautiful insecticide, a mosquito repellent. And in many of the universities of South India and also in Berhampur, Professor Kathirechan from the Annamala University, he has done a very beautiful work on this mosquito repellent properties of these marine plants. So these are actually the herbal way of fighting or combating against the diseases. So they are eco-friendly. They are at the same time can provide an alternative livelihood to the population. So coming back to mangroves, yes, mangroves are special type of vegetation that are found in the land's interface, and they have got a special type of roots, the pneumatophores, which instead of going down towards the gravity, they are negatively geotropic. That means they come against the gravity, stand on the towards the sky, and take the oxygen of the atmosphere. They have the supporting root system to fight against the storms, because the mangroves are mainly found in the coastal areas, which are the danger zone of the storms every year, like Isla, the cyclones, then Amphan, Yaps, etc. So they have a special type of root system. Now, this is a training I give to the forest officers. It is last year in 2022, we had a project under the Green India Mission with the funding of the government of India, where I was given the task of the capacity building of the forest officers, that how to measure the carbon content, stored carbon content of the trees. And we are standing within a forest in West Bengal, Bankura district, where I am giving training to the forest officers in a eucalyptus stand. This is the way I would do. This is a 10 meter quadrant where we count the number of species. I'm standing in the middle. And then after counting the number of species individually, we go for every species. We calculate the biomass by multiplying the volume into density. You know, the volume in a secondary level, it is taught at pi r square h. You can see the equation over here, pi r square. But where the radius has to be taken, the radius is taken from the breast height, because the radius may not be taken from any. This is a standard approach. The radius should be taken at the breast height, that is 1.30 meter from the ground level. Then you measure the height of the tree with the help of the drone, with the help of the laser, and then take a piece of the wood to know the wood density with the help of densitometer, and then we get the stem biomass, because the volume multiplied by density gives the biomass. So this is how we work, and this is the drone flying. We are doing this work, as I've told you, in one of the biggest industrial power sector in West Bengal, the Calcutta Electric Supply Corporation, and we are this job is still ongoing. We are measuring the stored carbon and the carbon dioxide level in the forest planted site within the plant, and this is how we do it. A piece of the wood is taken, and then it is dried, powdered, and this piece of wood is put into the CHN analyzer to know the percentage of the carbon, and then we calculate the carbon of the whole tree, and then multiplied by the number of trees present in that quadrant, what I have told you, 10 meter quadrant, and then we know that, well, this is per 100 meters square, this is the amount of carbon by that particular species, how it is absorbing. So in that way, we go to the policy level and say that, well, there may be 41 or 50 species, but these are the 5 major species or 6 major species or 7 major species which you can plan to absorb the carbon dioxide. And of course, at a local level, you can go for the carbon offset program through vegetation. So this is that instrument which is known as the CHN analyzer. And these are some of the results. I'm not going in technicalities in the biomass. You see the above ground biomass, and then we have found the above ground carbon per species. There are 5 species. We have made a comparative study how much carbon is stored in stem, branch, leaf, and therefore these are the above ground biomass. We did not do, but we don't do usually the below ground biomass, because if you want to know the carbon of the below ground biomass, you have to uproot the trees. You have to cut the trees, which is against the conservation. So there are certain empirical formula. 26% of the total tree is a below ground biomass. And for mangroves, which is growing in the muddy area, it is 31%, because mangroves require more strength, because that is the area which is full of water. The substratum is very loose. There is always a chance of the cyclonic depression. So there the nature has allocated not 20 to 26%, but 30 to 35% of the carbon in the below ground biomass. So that is another issue, but we actually concentrate on the above ground biomass, that is the stem, branch, leaf, which are above the ground. This is a very peculiar thing. This is not a fiction. You know, the phytoplankton are the small plant particles which we have to see under the microscope. And these phytoplankton in the marine environment, they emit light, just like the fireflies, which we Bengali we known as the Jonaki poka. That means the insect that emits the greenish radiation from their body. They are called the fireflies because they have got a protein known as the luciferin. This luciferin reacts with the oxygen when they take the oxygen through respiration, and then it becomes excited and liberates this greenish tinge. So this phytoplankton, marine phytoplankton, of course, 90% of the marine phytoplankton glitters in the night. And in Germany, some people are doing a very wonderful project. It may appear fiction to you, but it's not a fiction. They are trying to see a future cities by culturing the phytoplankton in big test tubes around the cities, the marine algae, and this algae will glow during the night by the fluorescence, by their autofluorescence. That is very, very important. And that phenomenon is known as the bioluminescence. So this is also a very good technology, that how the marine water can generate light, can generate at least some amount of energy to make a very good carbon-free future city. Coming to the COP27, you know that in COP27 last year, in 2022, in November, it was held in Egypt. And the main thing is that the carbon or the captured by the coal-powered stations. On that basis, we have taken this major power, because I believe that as a professor, I believe that if you just go on within the chapters, within the pages of the book, I'm sorry, I'm not a professor of that type. You touch the ground, smell the soil, and therefore you can know the taste of the environment. You can know the taste of the nature. So with this, we started our journey taking into account the COP27 things, the moral of the COP27. And this is the projects we have just completed, and the carbon sequestration by the floral species in and around the Haldia Energy Limited, which is producing the power, which is producing the electricity to the mega city of the Kolkata, supporting about 14 million population. So this is how the inside of the plants look like. And we got a final output. We found the terrestrial carbon. The tree is containing 5,000 to 5,290.72 tons. The shrubs, you know, the bushy trees, which are bushy plants, 48.72 tons. Herbs are containing 15.82, and the grassy species 5.46. So this is about the terrestrial carbon. Then the aquatic carbon. The aquatic carbons are the macrophytes, like the water hyacinth, like the azolla. I think many of you are really interested to know about that. They also contain the carbon. And the microphytes means the phytoplankton, which I have just told you. Microphytes means those small particles, plant particles, which you have to see under the microscope. And the macrophytes, which you can see under through the naked eyes, like the water hyacinth, like the azolla, all these things, they are the macrophytes. So we have calculated the terrestrial, that means the land plants carbon. We have calculated the aquatic carbon, and then also we have calculated the total carbon. That means the carbon in the soil also. And we have found that the total carbon is something around, in Haldia Energy Limited, 53,317.51 tons, which if you convert to carbon dioxide by a factor of multiplying 3.67, comes to 1,95,638.57 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So this is the amount of carbon dioxide equivalent is found presently. Now, just 2 days back, we have made this calculation and submitted them the report. This is, of course, not the final report, it's a draft report, and they are going through it. So this is how the things are working, and we are going to the ground level to see that how the trees are effective in controlling the emission. Now, finally, I'm coming to the recommendations. What recommendations I would like to give you And also, I would like to give to the society, because I have told about so many ways. I have told about the wind energy, I have told about the solar energy, the geothermal energy, the ocean thermal energy conversions, OTEC, by which you can minimize the emission. But my recommendation is that, say there are n number of trees, I recommended to those plants that go for the Azardica indica, that is the neem, then mahogany, then the asetha, then the acacia, then kadam, then arjun, ficus bengalensis. The seventh one is the banyan tree. So these are the 7 trees where we found a very high level of the carbon dioxide compared to the other 49 species present over there. There are about 57 species. So these are the 7 species which we suggested. Then we also, there is for the industrialist, I will tell that there is always an issue of seasonal monitoring, because with the season, the girth of the trees changes, the number of the leaves changes. In the monsoon, they becomes more vigorous. So there is a need for the seasonal change, seasonal monitoring of the carbon sequestration. Then there are ponds in any of the locality that is greenish in color because of the presence of the phytoplankton. If you want to culture more fish, then you should give the iron fertilization. Iron fertilization is a technology by which you can put the iron sulfate, but it will not change the chemistry. It will just make the enzyme of the phytoplankton active, and the phytoplankton will start generating and reproducing at a vigorous rate, and it will be a good food for the fish. So this is how you will get an alternative income, an alternative food chain also. So these are some of the recommendations. So specific plantation, seasonal monitoring, iron fertilization to boost up the phytoplankton and grow the fisheries. Then the azolla culture. Azolla is a small macrophyte which can absorb nitrogen directly from the air. So it is also recommended. And this is very, very important. Then the surface soil is a very good sink of the carbon. You know, the soil is also a very good sink of the carbon. But if that soil becomes acidic, what I find in most of the plants, they become acidic. So in that case, a lime should be sprinkled over there to make it neutral and nullify the acidic condition. Then only it can become a good sink of the carbon. That means the soil has to be maintained properly. And ultimately I think there should be an interpretation center. You know, without this, people around will not be aware. Every day we will do every day or other. There is World Environment Day is approaching. Is there Forest Day was just few days back. Today is International Water Day. We will just go on spending and giving lectures. But unless there is viable thing, something like I have suggested, and I suggest an interpretation center with recycling plastics, which can be initiated to exhibit the herbarium. Along with that, it will be mentioned that yes, this is the amount of the carbon locked by this particular species, and also the various animals which are thriving on the species. This will develop an awareness among the people and will build up the sense of the conservation. So I am suggesting a Saptapadi forest patch. What is Saptapadi? Saptapadi means the 7. This is the last slide. Saptapadi means the 7. You know, in the Hindu rituals, whenever there is a marriage, 7 times around the fire, the would-be husband and wife circles. There are 7 oaths are taken. In rainbow, there are 7 colors, Vibjur. In our music, there are 7 saregama, padhanisa. So 7 trees have been identified as the most important. Number 1, the neem for absorbing the carbon, then the mahogany, then the ashata, then the acacia, then this is the kadam, then this is arjun, and this is the banyan. With this, I believe that this speech will open up a new dimension for the academia and industrial approach. As a professor, I tell that I don't like to get myself bind in the academic world. I like to tie up with the industry. And hence, from my childhood, when I started, also, I have a great honor for the industrialists, but at the same time, the academia and industry, if they join hand, it can be a great success. These are some of the books written by me and my team members. which have been published by Springer. If you just give a search in the Google Abhijit Mitra mangrove, you get 10-20 pages. You can get many of the book free of the cost. Many of the books are copyright also, because Springer is really, they will also make profit, because the world is trying to make a profit in a sustainable way. And I think that there is no mistake in that. With this, I thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. If there is any question, I must ask, but I think that Dr. Pallavi Datto, I saw in the list, she is a professor of one of the colleges in Calcutta, Charuchandra College. She is really a question bank. If she asks question, then we can start from her also, or anybody can ask question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for a very insightful session. So there are two questions. So we will have the questions first from the chat box. So first question is, Mohan is asking, what is your opinion about Miyawaki forestation?
Yes, this is a very interesting question, where the forestation is done by tires. But the question is that in Miyawaki forestation, there is no question of the space. Space cannot be a criteria because it is done in a tiered system. But the question is about the nitrogen supplement. Nitrogen supplement is always a very barrier for this type of forestation. If there is a nitrogen supply, what I have told about the azolla, if it is supplied in the root system of this Miyawaki forest species, then it can be a sustainable one. Thank you very much.
Another question.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
just like to add to that, because I had implemented the Miyawaki plantation. So where there is no space available, but still you want to grow the greenery around that, or have some sort of an carbon sequestration thing, then the Miyawaki is the most suitable option. But definitely the initial cost is very high in this case. Thank you.
Thank you for those inputs, sir. So the second question is, are Indian origin plant more useful for carbon sink?
For India, yes, the endemic species are useful, but not always this is a true, because the water hyacinth, which is not our country, it has come from some other countries, from Australia. Somebody have the opinion they have been brought by Queen Victoria from UK. They are invasive species. So they are the unique sink of the carbon. So it's not always that but for the Indian soil condition, I have told about the Saptapadi, those are all Indian. So for that one, yes, Indian origin plants are very much for the Indian part. Yes, Pallavi has also come with the chat box.
Yes. So would like to read the question by Dr. Pallavi Datta. So she had a question that the 7 tree species suggested by you are all of macrophytes and take good time to grow. What can be an alternative way to absorb carbon by small plants like herb and shrubs?
Yes, this is a very good question. I was thinking, but sometimes I get defeated, because Pallavi did the doctorate at a very record time. Within 3 years, it is really, and she is one of the highest graded professor in one of the reputed college in Kolkata. So this type of bowling is very difficult, because I am not Sachin Tendulkar. I have been bowled out with this question, but still I will try to answer. I will try to defend it by telling that yes, there is, if you go for the azolla culture, azolla has got us bacteria, microbes, which can anabina, which absorbs the nitrogen, as well as it is rich in phosphorus and potassium. So this plant can grow within 14 days, but you need to have a bucket of water, only a small bucket of water. If you put an inoculum of azolla, it will grow like anything within 7 to 14 days. So that can be a good way to absorb the carbon. And regarding the herbs and the shrubs, it is difficult, because they are often been grazed by the herbivorous animals. So in that case, herbs and shrubs may be a good absorber of the carbon, but we should have to take care of the other biodiversity. They are the food, and the herbs and the shrubs are often consumed by the herbivores like the cattle. So that's why I should tell that azolla or these aquatic plants are very helpful.
Dr. Sahab, I have a small question. See,
Yes.
As far as the legislation are concerned, do you feel that the India is having plenty of legislation as far as the water conservation or climate change is concerned, or the really the voluntary approach they should be the most optimal because we are having plenty of legislation? What do you think about it?
See, from the legislation point of view, yes, you know that lots of acts are there, starting from the Air Pollution Act to Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 and Water Pollution Act. Even for the marine environment, there are CRZ1, CRZ2, Coastal Regulation Zone, implemented in 1992 and then amended thereafter by Professor Swaminathan, and a big body was there. But these acts are not implemented at all. If you come to Puri, if you go to Digha, if you go to Mandarmani, you will see that with the CRZ Act tells that you cannot construct anything within 500 meters from the high tide level. But all the hotels, the people, tourists enjoy it. They love it, that the water should splash within and they will put their legs and foot in the splashing water of the wave. So, but you see the case of the tsunami, what happened to them? Within one night, about 2 lakhs people got injured and shifted. So in that case, legislations are there, but they are not implemented to that extent. Although Supreme Court has given verdict, for the last 1 month, they have become very strict. They are demolishing many of the hotels, and they have given order that if they violate that CRZ1 norms, it will be demolished. So things are there, but people awareness is very, very important.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Mayura, you can close the have the closing remarks.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Mitra, sir. It was really very enlightening for all of us. We are actually layman into this field, but you explained the interconnectivity between the climate change, water, and how we can actually accelerate the change for our sustainable future. So we thank you for accepting our invitation and gracing this occasion virtually. We hope that all the audience enjoyed the session altogether, because it was very new topic and we really celebrated the World Water Day in a very true sense. So I would like to thank Parki sir also for bringing Dr. Mitra to Legacies, and we would like to be connected with you, sir, for all the time for all our contribution towards conserving the environment. I thank the audience as well for patiently listening.
I think there is
Then
just one more question from Sir.
yes, yes. So the question is that, sir, there are any bioagents which can be substituted for ETP or STP for water purification?
At present, I have no idea about the bioagent which can substitute for effluent treatment plant, because bioagents means something which will biopurify the water. It's a cost. It's a case of bioremediation. In that case, you know what I'm telling, that these macrophytes and the algae and the phytoplankton, they absorb the heavy metals. But after that, what will be the next stage? If they are used as the biomanure or something, it is again coming back to the soil and going to so in that true sense, bioremediation, whether it acts in a practical sense, is really a matter of question.
Okay. Thank you for that insight, sir. So now we would like to close the session. If anyone is having the question, this is the last call.
I think you can close it now. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you once again for attending the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Parki, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Mitra. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.